Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Man, has this game been a long time coming. I've been excited for this game ever since Wind Waker HD was announced all the way back in early 2013. I waited 4 years for this game. That doesn't seem like much, but this is the longest I've ever waited for a game to release. Not only that, but it was within my 3 most anticipated games the whole time I've known about it. And who can blame me, really? It's Zelda. It's one of my favorite franchises, and to this day, there hasn't been a legitimately bad Zelda game. Get those CDI games out of here, they don't count. We didn't even get any info about the game other than a few vague details, like how they wanted to reinvent traditional Zelda conventions. Then, at E3 2014, we finally got a teaser trailer, and it was so glorious. And a 2015 release date. Zelda games take a while to make, so I was definitely willing to wait. We got some early gameplay of it later that year, and it looked awesome. Looking back on the early footage, it's pretty cool how similar it was to the final game, except, you know, the 2015 release date. Zelda U got delayed, and we didn't get any more info until E3 2016, where the Zelda hype train goddamn exploded. Nintendo finally gave us a final name, and Breath of the Wild looked grander than I ever could have imagined. They showed about 8 hours of gameplay, and they never even left the starting area, being the Great Plateau. It was at this point that we knew that Zelda was no longer a Wii U exclusive, and it was going to be on the NX, now called the Nintendo Switch. We were going to have a Twilight Princess situation where it would launch on both consoles at the same time. Cut to January 2017 when Nintendo finally unveiled the Switch, and we not only got a March 3rd release date for the Switch, and a definite confirmation that Breath of the Wild would be a launch title, but we got Breath of the Wild's final trailer. This trailer is one of the greatest game trailers I've ever seen, and it hyped me up for the game so much that I pre-ordered an entire console because of it. The Switch was going to be my first day one console, and I was finally going to get the game I've been waiting so long to play. But then I didn't even get it until that Monday, because GameStop sucks, but the point is I was lucky enough to pre-order a Switch. And here we are, with a new Zelda game on a new system. So without further ado, is the game actually good? Good lord, where do I begin? So just a quick mandatory spoiler warning here. I won't be going over any major story spoilers, but there will be a lot of gameplay spoilers. So feel free to just watch this later if you care about that sort of thing. This is a new game and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. You really should play Breath of the Wild as blind as possible if you can. Anyway, on with the review. So Link wakes up in some weird-ass pool of, I don't know, choo-choo jelly? Hell if I know what this is. Meanwhile, as I was talking telepathically and telling you what to do while he gets distracted by everything every 5 seconds because that's just the kind of game this is. After you stop being distracted long enough to do what you're supposed to do, you restore the towers all around Hyrule, and it turns out Link's been asleep for 100 years. Oh, and guess what? Turns out Ganon's gone beast mode and taken over Hyrule. Fantastic. So it looks like it's up to Link to stop him because no one else seems to be competent enough to do so. You could rush to Hyrule Castle, but there's kind of a giant cliff in the way. So, in order to get off the Great Plateau, the old man agrees to give Link a paraglider in exchange for completing the 4 shrines on the plateau. Then some kind of spoilery stuff happens, and then Link heads to Kakariko Village. Long story short, Ganon's taking control of 4 divine beasts. Go take him back. Not much else to it. Some people have been disappointed by the story, but I think it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with having a simple story. Besides, I don't play Zelda for the story anyway. How have I not freaked out over how pretty this game looks yet? It looks so pretty. It's truly the perfect mix between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and my god, Zelda's never looked better. Oh, and did I mention this is running off of a handheld? Ah damn, have we come a long way since Link's Awakening. The music's still pretty good too. The music definitely could have been better, but it still sounds nice. Zelda's known for having great music, and I'm a tad disappointed in Breath of the Wild in this department, but at least it's still nice while playing. And now for the elephant in the room. That is the wrong elephant. Breath of the Wild has voice acting for the first time in a Zelda game.
I thought I made it clear that I'm not in need of an escort. It seems I'm the only one with a mind of my own. I, the person in question, am fine, regardless of the king's orders.
I've seen some fairly negative responses, but I personally really like the voice acting.
It's considered to be quite the masterpiece of aerial techniques, even among the Rito. With proper utilization of my superior skills, I see no reason why we couldn't easily dispense with Ganon. Now then, my ability to explore the firmament is certainly of note. But let's not, pardon me for being so blunt, let's not forget the fact that I am the most skilled archer of all the Rito.
Honestly, if you don't like it, there's very rarely any voice acted scenes, so it's not that big of a deal. The game definitely could have used some more voice acting, but at least all the NPCs are text-based, so you don't have to listen to the same 3 to 4 people voicing everyone like in Skyrim. The early game felt pretty weird at first. You were just thrown into the world with little explanation of what's going on. All you really have is a dot on a map telling you where to go after Zelda tells you to go do something. You can completely ignore it if you want, and you probably will because there's a lot of distractions. The controls took me a long time to get used to since they're completely different from other Zelda games. A is still for examining everything, but B is now used for sprinting, which uses stamina. The stamina meter from Skyward Sword is back, and it's much better now since it's used for more than just sprinting and spin attacks. Stamina is also used for climbing and gliding and can actually be upgraded this time. Rolling is gone now, but it's not like it's necessary to have at this point. The attack button is now Y instead of B, and it really messed with my head at first. It feels weird to change the attack button, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with its placement. If you press X, you can... Oh my god, there was finally a jump button! Local village boy learns to jump. Mode 11. I've never been bothered by the auto-jumping in 3D Zelda, but I have to admit that it's not really necessary for this kind of gameplay. X is also dodging in combat, which, again, felt weird to me at first. I was really used to pressing A to dodge, so I ended up accidentally shield bashing more times than I can count. You don't jump into walls and freely climb them. It's not like the little vault like in Skyward Sword either. It's actually climbing. Climbing is surprisingly fun, and at times it can be easier than figuring out the intended way to get up places. Equip the climbing gear and you'll be climbing everything in this game like a monkey, except when it rains. Rain makes it significantly harder to climb, and it always rains at the most inconvenient of times. Finally, the D-pad is used for quick selecting gear. All this weird feeling isn't to say the controls are bad. Once you get used to them, they're perfectly fine controls. They're just drastically different from every other Zelda game, so it'll probably take a while for you to get used to. Breath of the Wild handles tutorials beautifully. Instead of constantly telling you how to do everything in the game, it forces you to learn everything by yourself. It's really refreshing to see a big AAA game that doesn't constantly shove information down your throat. Zelda's been guilty of this in the past, and I'm glad Nintendo's willing to learn from criticisms from their past games. Hell, there's even a few mechanics of the game that even tells you about, like shield surfing. It really gives you the feeling you're alone in this world, and I really love the lack of hand-holding it has. Early on, you notice something a bit different about this game. Crap. I expect to die a lot in this game. I was pleasantly surprised by the difficulty, and damn it, not again. And there's little consequence for failure, which almost makes it seem like it's intended for you to fail a lot, so you can easily learn from your mistakes. Oh, come on! Breath of the Wild even autosaves constantly, so you never have to worry about losing a ton of progress. There may be a lot of autosaves, but you only have one save file per profile. At first I was really bummed about this, but it's really easy to just make a new profile on Switch, so it's not that big of a deal. But really though, why is there only one save file? It's not like it's a system limitation anymore. Even if you had no idea what to expect with Breath of the Wild going in, you'll soon realize it's an open world game. Open world games always felt like a mixed bag for me. Sometimes there's plenty of stuff to do and lots of places to explore, like in Skyrim, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Final Fantasy XV. Other times they felt too empty for the game to be enjoyable. Luckily, Breath of the Wild is the former. The world in Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite world in any video game. Hyrule is so big this time around. Remember back when Ocarina of Time came out and people were dumbfounded by how big Hyrule Field was? That place feels like a backyard now. Anywhere you see, you can go there. There's been plenty of games recently to do this, but Zelda Breath of the Wild does open world with a lot more freedom and exploration. Once you get off the plateau, you can even go straight to the final boss if you wanted to. You'll probably get your ass handed to you on a silver platter if you try, but it's possible. It's not only about where you want to go, but also how you want to get there. The world never feels small, and even after you get a good horse, that still doesn't make Hyrule feel smaller. No matter how you traverse it, there's no super quick skip everything way to go about it. Breath of the Wild not only forces you to explore your surroundings, but also encourages it. If you think the game's world's barren, you really aren't exploring enough. There's something to do and see around nearly every corner. There's places to see, enemies to fight, side quests to complete, Korok-Seeds to find, shrines to find and complete. Even after 70 hours, I'm still finding new things to do. Hell, even cooking is fun in this game. Cooking is really useful and can have some damn good benefits aside from health restoration, like temporarily increasing your health and stamina, and giving you some helpful stat buffs. With so much to do, backtracking can be an issue, but luckily Breath of the Wild has tons of fast travel points. First, there's towers which fill out the region of the map you activate them. There's one tower in each region of the map, and it's pretty easy to find for the most part. The map is super detailed too, and I found plenty of places I want to explore just by looking around my map for places I haven't been to. Then there's shrines. Shrines are essentially mini dungeons that put all of your abilities to the test. After every shrine you complete, you get a spirit orb, which is basically a heart piece. After you get 4 orbs, you can take them to a god statue, and you can increase either your health or stamina. This reason alone is why stamina significantly improved from Skyward Sword. It's not only used for practically everything, but you can even expand it to have a max of 3 full stamina wheels. You very rarely need that much stamina for anything other than climbing, though. You gradually get new abilities from shrines in the plateau, but once you get the paraglider, you'll basically have all of your abilities. There's only 4 runes in the game, and it may feel small compared to Link's huge arsenal of abilities in the past, but these are the most flexible items in the entire franchise. Link's got some cool ability this time around to boot. Magnesis lets you pick up metal objects, and you can even use those objects to damage enemies. Cryosis creates ice platforms from water they can climb onto, which is much better than swimming. Stasis lets you freeze objects in place. You can hit them and all momentum created while it's frozen is all released at once so you can move around them much faster than they would otherwise. Bombs count as runes too. There's square bombs and there's round bombs. Bombs work on a cooldown now, so you have infinite bombs this time around. Just when you think there's no way you can find another use for a rune, you'll find another use for one. It's really incredible how many uses your abilities have. There were technically 7 runes, but 2 differently shaped bombs count as the same ability, and it's not like the Cameron Amiibo runes have ever helped you out with a puzzle. A bit later in the game you can upgrade some of your runes, but they don't really offer any significant upgrades. I was a bit disappointed that you never get any major new abilities after the plateau, but it's pretty cool to have abilities that are constantly used in new and interesting ways. The combat in Breath of the Wild has been greatly expanded upon from previous Zelda games. It's actually really similar to past games, so you have way more options this time around. Link's always wielded one-handed weapons with a few exceptions, but now there's 3 weapon classes all with their own strengths and weaknesses. One-handed weapons are pretty average at everything and have a shield that you can use. Two-handed weapons are much slower, but each hit does more damage and their hits stun enemies. Even bigger ones. Spears have a lower base damage per hit, but they have incredibly fast swing speeds and longer reach. If you dodge an attack at the last possible second, you can yell Bayonet on everyone's asses and activate Flurry Rush, where you can mash Y and get a ton of free hits on the enemy. You know, that actually sounds like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Flurry Rush gives the combat a much more risk-reward system. If you manage to abuse Flurry Rush, you can make mincemeat out of tougher foes. There's a lot of variety in weapons too. There's standard stuff, but there's really creative weapons like elemental swords, some really cool looking swords, elemental rods, giant clubs, and even lightsabers. There's lightsabers in a Zelda game, guys. You wanna know what's better than lightsabers? Lightsaber chainsaws. Lightsaber chainsaws. Jesus, Nintendo. All these cool weapons make the Master Sword look really boring. With all these weapons, that doesn't mean they'll last forever. Yeah, it's weapons now have durability. I personally don't mind it since you're constantly getting replacements, but it really should be improved. For one, weapons break way too easily. If weapons lasted longer, it wouldn't be nearly as big of an issue. Second, there should be a durability meter for them. The only indication of low durability is the warning that comes up when it's about to break. There also needs to be some way to repair them before they break, especially with unique weapons you get in the main quest. They can be rebuilt with the diamond and a few other materials, but it's annoying how quickly these things break. Even the Master Sword breaks. It does recharge, so it is the most reliable weapon in the game, but did the Master Sword really need durability? I rather like the durability system, but it definitely needs improvement. Fortunately, there's more ways to finish off foes other than straight up fighting them. Stealth is one option. I'm really bad at stealth, so I didn't do much, but it definitely helped when I actually managed to pull it off. You can also use things in your environment, like exploding barrels and metal boxes to do damage. Constantly being worried about durability makes you think outside the box to deal with enemies. Player Kozoi and weapons won't even break that often. Even though they probably will anyway, because you quickly remember how hard the game can be whenever there's a new big challenging foe. Oh my god, Link, stop dying! Inventory space is limited too. Materials and armor have unlimited space, but weapon bows and shields do not. This is where Korok seeds come in. Korok seeds can be used to expand your inventory space. So, where do you find them? Everywhere. Just around every nook and cranny of the world, there's a little mini puzzle where Koroks are hiding. Some are as simple as picking up an out-of-place rock, but others are found by mini challenges like hitting Tokyo with the bow, or just putting a metal block in the right place. Bosses in this game are pretty forgettable. Most of them are actually outside of dungeons this time around, but a lot of them are just the same boss with slight differences. The bosses aren't bad, they're just forgettable. Speaking of bosses, the 4 main dungeons in Breath of the Wild are super underwhelming. They're mostly just one room and feel really small compared to the rest of the game. The dungeons in Zelda have always been my favorite parts of the game, and the new dungeons aren't bad, just underwhelming. I do like all the new dungeons, but they have been way better dungeons in the past. However, I love how you can do the dungeons in any order you want. Luckily, the bosses in the dungeons are really fun to fight, even if they do feel like the same enemy with different abilities. Hyrule Castle is honestly my favorite final dungeon in the franchise. Every other dungeon was small and underwhelming, but Hyrule Castle feels like an entire new area of the map. After finishing each dungeon, with the exception of Hyrule Castle, you not only get another hold container, but you also get a new passive ability. They're really nice upgrades that don't even feel overpowered. Special mention to Revali's Gale, because oh my god, this super jump is just too good. It makes climbing towers a complete joke, and it recharges very quickly. I'm just glad I did the Rito dungeon as my second dungeon, because I would have been really mad if I got this thing last. There was just too many places where it was useful. Breath of the Wild has 2 endings. Again, I won't spoil either of them, so don't worry. I'll just tell you how to get them. There's a normal ending for just finishing the game, and the true ending, which is just an extension of the normal ending. To get the true ending, you have to finish all 4 dungeons, obtain the Master Sword in the Lost Woods, and get all 18 of Link's lost memories. You'll know when you can go get the true ending when Zelda tells you it's finally time to defeat Ganon. What's really annoying about the true ending is that there's one memory inside of Hyrule Castle. It's very easy to find, but you're forced to leave Hyrule Castle at least once to get the best ending. It's a nitpick at best, but it still bugged me and somewhat ruins the flow of the final dungeon. Breath of the Wild doesn't have any new content after you finish the game, but there's still finding and finishing all 120 shrines, and getting all 900 Korok seeds. Finishing all the shrines gives you the Hero's Clothes. They're pretty strong if you upgrade them, but since you just finished all of the shrines, you're bound to have something better anyway. Once you finish every last shrine, you should have max health and stamina, right? If you max out your stamina, you'll be 3 hearts short of the max 30. Max out your health and you'll be 3 upgrades short of max stamina. No deal breaker about this, but it's really annoying being 3 hearts away from the cap. There may be 900 Korok seeds, but you only need about half of them to max out your inventory. But what if you do get all 900 of them? Well, the reward is pretty crappy. All you get is a golden turd. Well, that stinks. You can also go full Metroid Prime with the Hyrule Compendium as well. It's essentially the Hyrule Encyclopedia, which has information about every item, weapon, creature, and monster in the game. You fill this out by taking pictures of everything. Where the hell did Prompto go? You'd have this thing filled out in like a day. Can't forget about those gosh darn amiibo, now can we? By scanning amiibo, you get the godly reward of random item drops. Totally worth the 15 bucks, guys. But in all seriousness, there's a random chance to get clothing items from different characters. Link amiibo can get you the Twilight Princess outfit and an opponent ride. Zelda can get you the Twilight Bow. Toon Link can get you the Wind Waker outfit and the Wind Waker boomerang. The Ocarina of Time Link can get you the adult Ocarina of Time outfit and the Big Goron sword. The 8-bit Link can give you the outfit from the original Legend of Zelda, and a Sheik amiibo can get you a Sheik mask. The Guardian amiibo can get you Guardian items and weapons, and I really wish I knew about this because those things can be really hard to come by. Scanning a Wolf Link amiibo, you can get a Wolf Link companion. He only has 3 hearts though, so don't rely on him. I'm poor and unlucky, so I only managed to get the Wind Waker cap. It sucks, but at least I have the aesthetics. Running around in my underwear is still better though. Zelda Breath of the Wild is a long-ass game. I got the true ending in 70 hours, but if I wasn't digging around so much, I easily could have done it in about 40. God knows how long it'll take to 100% in this monster of a game. You'll get as much enjoyment as you put in. Keep coming back to it and you'll probably still find enjoyment to be had in it. The game's still new, so you're bound to spend 60 bucks on the game no matter which version of the game you end up playing. If you have a Switch and don't have this game, I really question why you bought a Switch to begin with. I say wait to buy a Switch until this holiday season when there's more games to play on it. If you really want to play the best version of Breath of the Wild right now, I say go for it. You won't be disappointed with it. But I do have to admit the only reason why I have this Switch version is because I got a Switch at launch. If you didn't get a Switch at launch, just go ahead and play the Wii U version. I haven't played it myself, but it does have the same content as on Switch. Just keep in mind the worst frame rate, graphics, sound effects, and load times. Wii U also has a mandatory 3GB install as opposed to Switch, which has no install whatsoever other than patches. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has been a fantastic experience. Everything from the graphics to the gameplay just ooze and polish and fun. I loved every second of this game, and the closest thing I can find to a legitimate complaint is that it rains too much. You think that's enough rain, Hyrule? If you've never played a Zelda game before in your life, play this game. Even if you don't have a Switch or a Wii U, play this game. Even if you wait until you can get it to cheaper wait for more games to come out, play this game. And to think, you can take this big world with you anywhere you want. This is easily the best launch title for any system, and has already become my 3rd favorite Zelda game, right behind A Link Between Worlds and Wind Waker. Nintendo really nailed it this time, and hopefully Switch gets more fantastic system sellers like this one. This has been that Flame 1000 guy, and tune in next time when I review Shovel Knight. See you next mission.